Welcome to Passion of the Soul with me, Ellena Lieberman, the new power hour for your consciousness. This is the space where you awaken to your authentic potential, the truth of who you really are. Here, we open the mind and heart and tune into the essence of the soul, the force that fuels your entire being and invites miracles into your life. Each episode inspires you to respond to the layers of potential within you and bring your unique legacy into the world. As you listen and watch, you'll discover that you can be the answer to your own quest. Get ready to tune into your innermost voice and live in alignment with your highest truth. Passion of the Soul starts now. Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman, and you are listening to Passion of the Soul on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us this hour and let us help you experience the new power hour of your consciousness. Every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. We will have some of the most brilliant visionaries, artists, healers, and authors who have walked miraculous journeys here to inspire you. Tonight on episode 6, I would like to share the book that I wrote, The Principles of Dynamic Manifestation as Received Through the Akashic Records. This book brings forward to all of you ways to manifest on very deep levels in your life from your vision, heart, and core of the Creator within you. But let me begin by the actual story of how I came to write this book. Now, this first story, which is what happened, is very mundane externally, but what happened internally is completely different. I lived on a high third floor in Chicago. The building was built in 1927, and I had to lug laundry from the high third floor outside when it was cold in a big gypsy bag. And you went through the back and you went through circular stairs made out of wood into the basement. And you had to put down your laundry, unlock the door, pull your laundry through, and then there were washing machines that you had to pay for. So you put your quarters in and you got out your laundry and you went through the routine. And it got pretty cold in there. The only view that you saw was all the storage lockers on the other side. It was not inspiring in the least. So I'd run upstairs and wait an hour to change the laundry. So I went downstairs after an hour. And then I got the laundry, I put it in the gypsy bag, and something else started happening. What started happening was an internal reality shift. I felt as if there had been a big space, a hole, like a hole in my heart that began to fill, that began to well up. And it was as if I was lifted up into a different consciousness right there in the basement of that apartment building. So I really couldn't believe that. I was so elevated. And I ran up the stairs lugging the laundry, went into the apartment, and suddenly I was filled with love. I was filled with adoration. If you can believe this, this is what was happening to me. I thought miraculously the Akashic Records had opened. Now, I learned to read the Akashic Records in 1990. This was 2007 when this happened. So I thought, or my late mother's trying to communicate with me. But it wasn't any of those things. It was a true elevation. And I ran through the apartment, and could not write enough praise and gratitude. Wherever there was a pen, wherever there was a piece of paper, I started writing. Immediately, this is how I responded. I was so grateful. I was so grateful to be alive. I was so grateful to have the clothes in the laundry bag. That's the first part that happened with it. And I was totally elevated. A few days later, I began to receive or know that through this elevated state, I could declare things from that consciousness. I could declare, I could say, this is beautiful, my life is beautiful. Why, look at that painting. I want my life filled with these kind of paintings. I want to see the ocean. And I began to say it out loud. There was that much energy in it that I started to speak out loud. And then I also wrote it down. There was such a force coming inside of me. Nothing had changed outside of me. And it took a while for it to change outside of me. But gradually there was some kind of integration from another layer of myself. Now, with the commonplace qualities of this story, amazing things happened. The next move that we made was to the island of Palm Beach, which was very beautiful. And I want to add something else. Our first settling in Florida was because there was a very powerful clergyman. So that does say something, because some of these things that happen well up from your very soul, and it's internal. However, it's not contained. Your boundaries are not contained. We have boundaries so our ego, our personality, can survive and be defined and supported. But the rest is a fantastic symphony. We feel on the inside, but the beautiful chords extend far beyond us. So I'd like to share another story with you that appears in my book. Now, in my book, everything is true, but I have created characters which are composites of clients and myself, but the experiences are real. They're not made up. So I'd like to tell you something, a new story that's a little more metaphysical. There's a young woman, and she's a lawyer, and she doesn't really realize how she possibly got through law school, because she thinks she's an imposter. She thinks she's an imposter. She's not herself. She's playing a role of somebody else or someone or something. So she got through law school, and she'd crammed the night before and aced all the tests, if you can believe that. And she had flying colors when she graduated. She goes into a law firm and finds out she's not very happy there. So when she goes home, she has 2 girls, and she loves to garden, and she longs to get away. So she reads about special journeys, and she finds one that will be in Peru. And there will be a shaman there. So she signs up to take her vacation and go on this journey. The shaman takes the group into the mountains at night, and he plays the flute. The group spreads out, so they don't really feel quite as close, but you know someone is there. And the young woman looks out into the forest, and it's very beautiful. And suddenly, she sees the life force of the trees. She sees the light coming from the trees and also hears the light, which is very common in higher perception. You don't know which sense gets used. So she hears the light, and then she hears it like the song of the trees. And she can see them in harmony, and she can feel them in harmony. And where she feels this is in her heart. It's as if the trees have entered her heart. The song of the trees enters her, and she becomes one with them. And her life force, she sees it as part of the tree's life force. There's no difference anymore. It's as if they're singing her song and she's singing their song. And we're going to take a break, but let me just finish part of this, which is as she looks out onto the leaves, they become jewel. They become jeweled, like jewels sparkling in the night, in all different colors, and they too have a song. So we're going to take a little break here. Please hold the thought, because it gets very interesting as the time passes and how she handles this. We're going on a little break right now, and I want everyone to know how to get in touch with me for consultations. And I'll tell you later that we're giving a special consultation with Akashic Records and our book. And please, if you want to get in touch with me, write me a note, and I promise I will write back. And if you'd like, I will call you on the phone, because I do handle things myself. dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
You're thinking your purpose in life? Become a certified hypnotherapist and regressionist today. Bryn Blankenship is a renowned certified master hypnotherapist, international instructor, and author. In addition to her own show, Afterlife Teacher, Soul Lessons Bringing You Full Circle, Bryn is a popular radio show guest who speaks about her soul expression spiritual regression, her transformative method for finding and following your soul's guidance. For more information on her hypnoregression and afterlife regression certification programs, visit brynblankenship.com.
What if justice wasn't just about systems, but about the soul? Join us on the Spiritual Justice Show with me, Eric S. Lee, on the Transformation Network each first and third Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific. We bring together leaders, healers, and change makers to explore a new vision of justice, restorative, transformative, and deeply spiritual. Find out how spiritual justice could be your missing piece to transformation.
Are you feeling stuck, drained, or disconnected from your true self? Join Manon DeBerich and Dr. Pat on Aligned Energy, where ancient wisdom meets modern health and wellness. Tune in every second Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. Discover how energy awareness and alignment can help you reclaim your power, vitality, and purpose. For more information, visit AlignedEnergyHealing.com and start your journey today.
Have you always felt like the black sheep, cycle breaker, or parentified eldest daughter? The one who never felt like enough? It's not because you're broken, it's because you were shaped by a toxic family system that taught you to question your worth. The Self-Worth Blueprint for Black Sheep and Cycle Breakers shows you exactly how that conditioning took hold and how to release it. Through powerful mindset shifts, somatic healing practices, and an interactive workbook, you'll rebuild your self-worth from the inside out. Visit blacksheepexperience.com to enroll now.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Passion of the Soul, and I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. Now, briefly, I just want to tell you that I am offering a special dynamic manifestation Akashic record consultation with the book. I will send you the book, or you can buy it on Amazon, whichever you prefer. And it will be a 90-minute consultation. And then we'll have 2 follow-ups, at least 45 minutes each, second week and third week out. So just send me a note that you're interested. It's only $400 for a lot of in-depth information. So it's a really good bargain. And you can contact me on dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. So let's go back into the mountains now. We have someone in the late night who is communing very deeply. And she looks at the trees and she becomes one with their song, with the vision, with the light. She looks at the leaves and they become jeweled from their vital force, which she feels in detail inside of her. And she can hear the height of those leaves. She hears the high pitch of their singing in these harmonics together. And then suddenly what happens is she feels it so deeply that she starts to sing out. She starts to sing way out on the mountains and to the leaves in harmony. She just tones and they harmonize with her. And through her sound, through the sound current, she unites with everything that she's seeing. And then another thing happens. As she looks up in the sky, she sees orbs of light flying in formation over the mountain, over the treetops. And she starts singing to them, and they beam back at her as if they're hearing her. They're listening to her, and they come closer, and they're all part of one. The cosmos and all the gifts of the cosmos become one. And in the distance, she hears the soft flute of the shaman playing, and she starts to come back down. She comes back down to her smaller self, but it's a very comfortable self, and it feels secure to her. So she aligns with it, and it feels good to be back in that self. And slowly the shaman comes down, and the people come forward, and he leads them back to the hotel. The next morning, she basically asks one question, and it's interestingly enough about the orbs of light. She wonders if other people saw it, and they all had. They all had some of the same experience, and something from beyond did come forward to them that they all recognized. And with that, the experience ends. She flies home, and wouldn't you know it, she has to go back to the office. And she gets back to the office, and there is a big lawsuit because there are people protesting in a large company. Nobody sees eye to eye. There is a total employee disagreement, and it's a great upheaval, and someone has to be sent out to unify these diverse parts. And she volunteers, and she does it just to get out of the office. But it does lead her into something finer. She begins to manifest something different. But one more thing happens. She can't tell anybody about her experience in the mountains. She has one friend, and she calls him up and says, let's go out to dinner. There's an employee dispute I want to get your opinion about. He's another accomplished lawyer. So she goes, and he thinks that's what they're going to talk about, and it isn't. She says, Jerry, I want to tell you something. Something else happened to me, and that's really why you're here tonight. And she proceeds to tell this story. And Jerry is not sympathetic. He just stares at me. And he says to her, You're a very intelligent woman. You mean to tell me you went on a mountain and you saw psychedelic lunar leaves glowing like jewels? Oh, come on. Let's get real. This is real time. This is the here and now. And she stands up and she says, you know, Jerry, I thought you really would understand, but I'm tired. I'm tired of being what you think the world is like and trying to fit in. This is it, Jerry. Goodbye. And she leaves. There is an employee dispute that she does very well with because something in her has awakened that says to her, among the diversity, or what seems really diverse, like another form of life, there's unity. And the unity is not felt by looking at something outside of yourself. You can see it that way, but it's what is going on inside that is telling you the real truth. That's where it is. So let's go back for a second. We talked about something interesting really right from the beginning on the show. There is a process that we do, which is self-introspection. Where is my mind? Inside. Where is my mind? What are my emotions doing? What am I feeling in my body, inside? And what are my thoughts? Because to manifest is a complete awakening at whatever rate of speed it takes of beginning to listen in as you receive what looks like the outside. And that changes. And likewise, it's both ways. In other words, things go on the outside. How does it affect you on the inside? Things are going on the inside. How does it affect you on the outside? Now, there's kind of a fun little exercise in the beginning of the book, and some of you may know about it. And what it does is show you that you may think you have certain boundaries, but you don't have them. Those boundaries are infinite. And the exercise is in the chapter of the etheric template. Before something manifests physically in the world, there is a projection of energy that comes from layers. It's like a map, ethers, and it's closest to the body, and it's called the etheric template. Actually, the template goes on to other levels of soul, mental, etc. But we can see and feel the etheric template. The first thing we can do that's actually fun is, I'm going to hold this up on the screen. And many have done this to see the auric field. This is an exercise. But if I pull my fingers away, watch very carefully, and you can all do this on a neutral wall, gray, white, beige, after the show is finished. But let's just pull this away and watch. Watch the screen where these fingers are. You'll see that there's like a jellied kind of, we call it aura now, but this is part of the template. So your physical fingers don't end. If we could see and see and see, you'll see it's almost like putty pulling at each other. That's part of the template. And it's fun to do that, so you can see that. Furthermore, if you have plants in your house, if you put them against a neutral wall, you will see the projection of a leaf or flower into the space before the physical manifestation of it. In other words, the map goes out and then the physical manifestation emerges. And likewise, if you cut the leaf, if you cut that leaf, it will linger there for a while because the vital force is still there. So that's very interesting. Now we can do this with thought waves, and that's fun too. You can read or think something. Now this isn't meant to be tricky. So you say, I'm going to think something, and hold your hand, you can see where my hand is, hold your hand here, and then think something or read it and feel the waves of your thoughts hit your hand, your fingertips. The fingertips are more sensitive in most people. You can feel that. And how much more so, of course, the voice. You can feel all the sound waves. But this is just your thoughts. And the truth is, healers feel that through the entire energy bodies. They can feel your thoughts through the entire energy bodies. Now, you can have a partner do this with you. In other words, you tell the partner, I'm going to read something in this book. I want you to hold your hand here, and I'll say, I'm going to start reading now. And go ahead and ask them, read and ask them, what did they feel? So you get used to the idea that you are not containing your frequency, your thoughts, things in your core. They are creating a magnificent orchestration in the cosmos, everything around you. And that is one of the key principles of dynamic manifestation. You start with what's deep inside and you bridge out into the world. And we'll examine exactly how you do that in a minute. We're going to be taking another break, and we'll be back and we'll be learning about declarations and praise right after this short break. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
I'm Tristan, a shaman, astrologer, and human design reader. I help unravel spiritual ideas to create change and growth in your life. Whether you are just beginning or need a knowledgeable best friend with the next phase of your journey, I'm here to help. Think of me as your pragmatic shaman bestie. I work with high-vibe, lovely people like yourself in personalized sessions that will leave you with a sense of clarity that energizes you to make impactful change. Connect with me, your pragmatic shaman bestie, at musingsandmodalities.com.
Vicki Todd is a memoir artist and sculptor whose female nude figures have been featured in juried group and solo shows in New Mexico and beyond. She is also a playwright and performed a one-woman show called Shine Happy Shine, and recently wrote a second play, Does This Make Me Delusional?, which she hopes will hit the stage in the near future. You can view Vicki's artwork and one-woman show at vickyworldart.com. That's vickyworldart.com.
Are you constantly triggered by your mother? Do you feel that no matter what you've tried, you cannot break out of your repeating patterns that are keeping you stuck? Do you feel sad, angry, or frustrated for no apparent reason? From Burden to Brilliance is a profound exploration of how our birth experiences can deeply influence various aspects of our lives. I emphasize that the way we were born and the environment we were born into affects everything from our emotional health to our physical coordination and mental clarity. My approach combines ancestral healing, reprogramming the neural pathways in your brain, and energy work to help you rebalance and break free from limiting beliefs and repetitive patterns. Are you ready to dig deep? For more information, visit shannonbtb.com. That's shannonbtb.com.
we're back, and welcome again. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. And remember to contact me. Go to dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. And we'll be going into dynamic manifestation, Akashic record consultations, which will be available to everyone who contacts me. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit before we move on about praise and declaration. When I had the incident in the laundry room, when I ran up, I started doing the praise and gratitude. This is extremely important. Why? Because the energy of your heart is open and opened to do it. So in the book, what I have is something called Hallelujah, Brothers and Sisters. And what you do is praise and express gratitude to everything that really has meaning in your life. And you speak it. You speak it out loud, because that voice vibration with the breath is the bridge to manifestation in this style. In other words, it becomes something like the sound current. Some people have the sound current of God or divine utterances. You are uttering your life in extremely positive ways, which are grateful and praising. It could be about people, and it always is in the present. And so it's as if you're saying hallelujah about your whole life. And it can be anything that has meaning to you. My cat just came. Hallelujah was given to me, this little creature. I love you so much. And to feel the effect of that, feel the transformation. It can't be phony. In other words, that's a phony thing. That's not going to open your heart. It has to be accessing your heart. And we'll go into that a little bit more if you feel like it's not that emphatic, or what do you do with that? That's one thing. So the praising out loud is very, very important. The next part of praise and the next part of declarations is that you, besides speaking them, you have to act. You have to act do something physically in the material dimension. Part of it is the speaking. These things cannot remain on what we call the mental plane, because it will stay there and you'll go into your head and wonder why life feels it's not going right, I don't know, this isn't working, this isn't real, all of that, because you don't believe it. And what we speak of is something deep inside, in the core, in the inner vision, that we do believe in. So the next thing that I would like to mention is called declarations. And this really is a big theme in the book. And I work with people on how to write declarations. Number one, the declarations are always in the present. In other words, they're not, I want to be completely healed. Because I'm healed, I can walk right out of the house and go for a walk for hours. And I'm doing that now. And as I take my walk, I see beautiful landscaping. I'm just amazed what people do. And I smell the fragrance of it. And I continue to walk because I'm so well. That's a declaration. You're in the moments of your declaration. You are living it. It's happening. Though if it's 10 minutes long, you're living it for 10 minutes, so that it's very, very real. That's important. The next thing, again, is something to act on. In other words, if I've just declared that I really walk well, and that there's beautiful fragrance. What are you going to do to bring it into the physical world besides the sound current? You could take a picture that used to be very popular, vision boards. You can do that and put it up. You can go to the computer and see the pictures of roses. You can actually go out and plant a rose. But something has to be done to pull it through and make it real. So you have a composite. So that's very important. So it's supportive. They're also very specific. Let's say you want to live in a house and look out of the window and see a garden. In your declaration, do you want this garden to be the garden of the person next door, a beautiful park that you live next to so you don't have to water the lawn or take care of it? Or do you want this to be your garden that you take care of, or that people who love to garden take care of? That's in there. Everyone that you work with loves what they're doing. The whole frequency rises up. So at least you get the feeling in those moments that it is really happening. That's very important. And to get engrossed with it. Now, one time I just took a metallic scarf. I did the declaration and put a metallic scarf on a nail on the wall, because the scarf epitomized dressing up and going somewhere that I wanted to go. But the idea here is that you're taking all of this and you are weaving the foundation that will lift you up into the world of manifestation that you feel here. It starts in the heart. It starts in the vision. It starts in the core, and the energy from it is divine energy. So therefore, it is coming from your very soul. Now, I'd like to get into something else. So you may say, that's great. I can paint these kind of pictures. I'm fed up. I don't feel it. You got to be kidding. This is very, very weird. So what we're going to do with that is call forward grace. And I'm going to start with something more heavy right now. The greatest overlay or impediment to manifestation is the energy of shame, blame, or anger. Now you may say, well, what are you talking about? I can really feel it if I'm angry. And I have a right to be angry. That kind of duality, in love, angry, that kind of duality also manifests a duality. It manifests. In anger, somebody has to be the victim. That's not part of manifestation for us. We're talking about elevated union, like chords playing higher and higher until you can't hear them anymore. But that doesn't mean the sound stops. So what do we do with those feelings? One of the things that we do with them is to call forward grace. We have 3 prayers that we use for grace, and then we also have actually 13 points for grace. What are these points? These points are like little portals that express the energy in the physical expression, and that energy really is like a portal. And here's something that's very interesting. The Akashic records are very much like the field of eternal grace. They are very refined, subtle, infinite, but they record and create at the same time. That's the difference. When you go into the frequency of the Akashic records, they record everything, all the nuances of the soul, if you're looking at people's souls, or the happenings, and they also have the force to create. Like we showed Ronnie's mandalas. She goes there to create. grace has the same refined essence, but what it does is give endless unconditional love. The essence is very refined. It's not like the energy of anger. Anger is jagged and it's powerful and it gives you a punch. But the refined essence of grace is the highest frequency known to creation, number one. It's infinite and it is much larger in force than you realize. So, if we use one of the grace prayers that I'm talking about, say the third one, which is Father, Mother, God, Spirit, Source, we ask that this, let's say, energy pattern of anger be sent on in its spiritual evolution for the highest good. So what that does is your willingness to start to give over the anger, that energy, and receive of divine grace. How do we do that? Well, we mentioned declarations, we mentioned praise. Take one positive declaration or take one moment of joyful praise and use it as the main reference point for grace. And that's right here. So as we give over, we're going to go here and recall that moment of gratitude, that love that came in. And as we learn, it can be more personalized. But that is an example of grace. So we're going to pause for a moment. I'm going to continue my discussion about grace. And also when we come back, we're going to have our discussion about money, which is always interesting. I'm Ellena Lieberman, and we're going to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we'll continue talking about grace and our discussion about money and sacredness. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Looking for inspiration that awakens your soul? Join me, Ellena, on Passion of the Soul every first and third Thursday, 5 p.m. Pacific, on Transformation Talk Radio. I interview brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries. Visit my website, dynamicmanifestation.com. Passion of the Soul, where your truth comes alive.
Hey everybody, oh my goodness, we have got talk radio for all of us.
Really, thank you for blazing the trail for women in talk radio and just being such an inspiration to me and so many other people. What you're doing is so awesome. And, you know, without people like you there to like really step out of the box and go for it, I don't know if someone like me would have ever ended up here, but I'm so happy to be here. And I just want to thank you for everything you're doing. You're one of my major inspirations.
If you've been journeying with Shakti Durga on the Mystery School podcast, you're invited to something very special this July 2026. Shakti Durga invites you to Carrying the Sacred Fire retreat in the Himalayan foothills of India. This retreat is a journey into illumination, refinement, and embodiment through fire ceremony, meditation, and sacred transmission. If you feel the call, visit shantimission.org to learn more and reserve your place.
Are you ready to break free from self-sabotaging patterns and reclaim your power? I'm Beck Nelson, licensed therapist, spiritual mentor, and psychic medium, helping individuals achieve true personal liberation through my Beckology framework. This step-by-step system shifts your mindset, strengthens your intuition, and empowers lasting change. Work with me through single sessions, 90-day or 6-month programs, or explore my courses, books, and coaching. Visit becknelson.com to get started.
This is Ellena Lieberman, and we're back with Passion of the Soul. If you'd like to contact me, you can go to dynamicmanifestation.com/connect. Now, I want to point out something when we talk about those difficult emotions like shame, blame, and we were talking about anger. We're not pushing or negating, we're not pushing that away or saying it shouldn't be so. As a matter of fact, we ask through the records for the book, you're asked to actually feel it. Feel the depth of those emotions and feelings. Don't pretend they're not there or that you shouldn't have them. That's not going, it doesn't work. Because that says to you, I can't have my feelings. I'm not a person. So that's not what we're after. As a matter of fact, feel whatever feeling it is and feel the depth of that feeling, such as anger. And then one thing you can do before you let go of it is actually write it out and write out your feelings, take them and tear them up, and then burn them. Now, burning is an interesting thing because it transmutes, but you actually burn it, and you burn it to make a space for something else of a higher, actually more vast, more expansive, which is grace. Once you realize that as powerful as certain feelings are, if you take that energy, and let's say you burn it on a piece of paper like it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice. I'm taking this huge energy and giving it over. I am for giving it over. It doesn't make someone right or wrong. It doesn't do that. It's just I'm letting it go. It's huge. And I'm for giving it over with a forgiveness prayer. And in exchange, I am going to receive of the beautiful essence of grace. Grace is constantly giving. It's infinite giving. It's infinite kindness. It is the highest level of creation. So what we're doing is identifying in the declarations, in the praise and gratitude, we feel that. And when we let go of that space, and sometimes it takes a long time to let go of certain kinds of feelings. There are other prayers that we can use to do that, and other specific ways that we can use to do that, and slowly let go, because we realize that once we create through the heart, when there is love, the whole world elevates. And both the stories have that. One's much more mundane. Nothing happened in the laundry room with the laundry. What happened was inside of me. And likewise, the happenings on the mountain with the shaman, well, that was also inside of her. So all of this is inner recognition that is available. And once we access the love, then we go where we create with the love. We see the spiritual beauty in many things. Now I'd like to move on to money and sacredness. When I reread the part on money, and I remember how I felt originally, and I thought, people are going to think I'm a real kook. This is, it sounds like I want you to worship money. I'm not saying worship money, but it could sound that way if I don't explain it. So basically in the book, what I say about money is to elevate it to a position of sacredness and love, so that it is like a divine ray, like the gold is like a divine ray of something sacred. And one of the ways I propose in the book is that some people have altars or they keep holy books, or they have symbols that have deep sacred meaning to them, and to take the money and put it with them. Put it with them so you feel the energy of the sacredness in you for the money that you have. Now, I'm saying it that way for a certain reason. For thousands of years, religions and spiritual organizations have said, we're spiritual, we're religious, donate, give the kindness, give the money to us. Now, I'm certainly not doubting that, but have you considered it being sacred in your life, giving it to you? Because you have a soul. And what happens is when you see these sacred things, that part of your heart, which is the inner dimension of the heart, is called the supernal heart, where reverence of the soul lies. That's what gets activated. So you are elevating that money to a place that is beyond where it's been before, so that you see that elevation in you. Now, this is a very interesting concept. If you would consider that if you're putting something out in the world, you do marketing strategies, I'm not criticizing that, you do many things to get the word out. But if you're not feeling the worth of that, you are not going to sustain it. It's going to explode, it could explode, and then it's going to go. So you go after another explosion again. But what I'm saying is to see the worth inside of you as distinctive, as sacred, as meaningful, like a golden ray coming from the divine, and manifesting money that way. Now, also be clear if you want the money or you want the things in your life or feelings in your life. Because sometimes you think, well, if I had a lot of money, I could bump, I could blah, blah, blah. That's not true. The manifestation occurs on every level, and you attract on many levels to you, so that you might end up getting a certain house somewhere before you get money. You might end up getting furniture that you love. You may get animals that you love, many things. So manifestation occurs through the tone, the sound current, through the breath, and through the thoughts. Now, I would like to close tonight, and I want to thank you so much for joining me. And it's been wonderful to share this information with you. And I'd like you to please join me every first and third Thursday of the month, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And next time, we're going to have Dr. Seth Copold, who has written a book, Self-Led, Living a Connected Life with Yourself and with Others, an application of internal family systems. And that will be May 7th, because the first Thursday comes the next week of May. So thank you so much, and have a wonderful and abundant week. Thank you for being with us today. I'm your host, Ellena Lieberman. Be sure to tune in every first and third Thursday night at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern on Transformation Talk Radio for more Passion of the Soul, where we connect with brilliant creators, artists, healers, and visionaries who have walked miraculous journeys. Continue the experience at dynamicmanifestation.com. And if today moved you, share the show and like us on social media so others can awaken their authentic potential too. Until next time, listen deeply, trust your innermost wisdom, and live your passion of the soul.